Okay, I'm often getting asked, what lure should I get? I'm looking to buy a few Samson lures and I'm not really sure what one I need. So I thought about making a little video just explaining the differences between each of the lures and what situations they're best for and how you'd use them. It's not really an instructional. We've got some instructional videos you can have a look at if you're looking literally how to work each lure or get the best out of it. But this is just to give you an idea of how that lure was designed or what it was designed for, how it casts and kind of action, what fish you're basically going to catch with them. Yeah, all the lures range from lighter weights all the way through to heavier, depending on what you're fishing for. All the lures are virtually indestructible and they can be, you know, bashed around on the rocks, or whether you've got fish like barracuda with sharp teeth hitting them, they're going to last and they're certainly not going to break, and you can bring them up over ledges, rough ledges, and you know, they're just going to basically, they're not going to get damaged. So all the lures are wired through and rigged with very strong hooks. We're constantly changing things, and over the last year we've changed all the hooks and rigged them with super strong hooks, and we actually get more complaints now that the hooks are too strong. But you just can't please everyone, because you could have someone in Australia that's looking for a really strong hook, and then someone fishing over in the UK for bass that wants something lighter and sharper, say, it's gonna, you know, and help the action. So basically we just do our best to provide a lure that's all round, that you can just literally pick it up or off the shelf and go and fish with it straight away. Now, of course, if you want to change the hooks, that's fine. You know, it's different. Everyone's got their own way of preferences to rigging. These are all rigged with treble hooks, and a couple of them have got singles on, like the Pelagic candle, I believe. But you know, there's different ways you might want to rig them. We do it with the trebles so that, you know, it's just a good all-round setup. I mean, some people prefer a single. You know, once you've got a fish on a single, there's definitely less chance of it coming off. So a split ring to a swivel and another split ring to the single is a really good method if you're looking to give the fish the least possibility of getting off once you've hooked it up. But the only problem with that is the hook's going to be set quite a way back here, and so if you're getting fish hitting from below, you could miss that hook up. But for fish like that follow from behind, say like rooster fish, it's an ideal way to set them up. But we can't set them all up like that, because people are fishing obviously for different species of fish. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the slower retrieve lures. First one is the tweak bait. This is the 120 gram version. It's the biggest one, so I think that's 14 centimeters. Now, they're just called the tweak bait. Now, there used to be the Enticer tweak bait, but we've changed that because we've now got three in the range, three versions of this lure. This would be the original one, which is the medium sink now, which sinks down at a medium speed. So this is a good general all-round lure. It's subsurface, and yeah, whether it be sea bass or GTs, had tuna on them, just about everything. So it's a good all-round lure, and the medium sinking one casts pretty well, and yes, it's just good using that rod tip to tweak it through, as the name says, and yeah, catches fish. As it's been such a successful lure, we decided to bring it out in a couple of different varieties. So we've now got three, first being the slow sink tweak. Now, the slow sink tweak obviously sinks a lot slower, and yeah, it's really good for working sort of over shallow reef or in a current, or somewhere where you just don't want that lure to drop down too quickly, or perhaps not retrieve it too fast, just working it through the current, the waves, or yeah, it really works well sort of up gullies when you just want it sort of to just hold there and just tweak it through slowly. That's a really effective situation where you could use a slow sink tweak bait. And as I said, you know, over shallow rocks where you just don't want to get it snagged, like you might the medium one if you're not experienced in using it. But basically, keeping that rod tip up brings these lures to the surface anyway. So you've got the slow sink, you've got the medium sink, which is the original one, and finally the fast sink tweak bait, which is probably ideal for surf casting or from ledges for pelagics, you know, where it's deep, or when you just want to get that lure down deeper quickly. They've all got different actions. So the fast thing, it's got a smaller, faster action. You're going to retrieve that through a lot quicker than say the other two. So yeah, they, as I said, they're going to catch anything from bass, GTs, tuna, whatever you're fishing for. So as you can see, they come rigged with 2 hooks, tail hook and belly hook. I mean, you can rig them up with just a tail hook if you want. I occasionally do that. But basically, obviously, the 2 hooks gives you a better hook-up ratio. And again, you can put singles on if you like, but they come with trebles. Next slow retrieve lure is the glide. Now, this is a new lure on the Samson range. We wanted a few lures with slower retrieve speed, you know, for different situations. So we've got something to cover everything. We've had a lot of really good long casting, faster retrieve lures, and we've been working hard to get some really nice shapes on the slower retrieve. So with the slow sink tweak and the glide here, this is a great bass lure. This was designed particularly for sea bass and striper, the bigger versions for the Cape Cod Canal. And it's got kind of a real wide side to side gliding kind of action, just using your rod tip from side to side to get that action. So it's a real slow to medium retrieve, although you can retrieve it faster if you want, but that's what it's specifically designed for, to be worked slowly, you know, in a current or, you know, whatever situation you need it for. But probably the best and most effective situation to work the stealth glide would be for nighttime fishing, when you want to bring something through slowly, it's level sinking, just tweak it through, or just before dark and early mornings, when again you're looking for something slower. Yeah, so that's going to be good for a whole variety of fish. As I say, it's designed for sea bass, striper, but it's going to be good for kingfish and other big pelagics in the bigger sizes for sure. Okay, next lure up on the slow to medium retrieve is the bomb. Now this is another lure that is designed specifically for striped bass and European sea bass. It's got a great action. It's got a kind of side to side tapping with the nose. You can retrieve it as slow to medium speed or faster if you want, just using little taps of the rod tip. Now the heavier versions were designed to really get out far on the Cape Cod Canal, where distance is absolutely vital. So when there's a blitz going on and the fish are out a long way, you really need to get out. So it's a really good casting lure, but it's got a great action. This is fast becoming one of my favourite lures already. Yeah, first bass I had on this was a double figure, right on the dot, 10-pound bass that literally swallowed it halfway down. The nose has got a kind of tapping side to side action. It's really easy to work. You just keep the rod tip up or down, little taps and a steady retrieve, and it's just splashing there across the surface, looking very enticing for the fish. Okay, on to the faster retrieve lures, and first up is a slim minnow. This is only a 30-gram version. It's just the smallest one that we've got at the moment, and these go up to, I think, 115 grams. So this is a really popular lure with the pelagics. I mean, you can catch bass and stuff on them, but they're really coming to their own on things like tuna, kingfish and Spanish mackerel, other kind of pelagics like that, and they've proven really popular over in Australia. Some of the best land-based anglers in the world, like Goshi, has been having some great catches on them, and although it's primarily a surface lure, these guys like Goshi have been dropping them down, bringing the tuna up and getting hits on them like that. Daniel Hughes, another very good land-based angler, has had a great year with them, and young gun Matt McCulloch has caught just about everything on them, and yeah, so they're going really well over with the pelagics. So it's another really long casting lure that's got like a side to side action, so really it's ideal. A medium speed or medium to fast speed is probably where it's at its best. Okay, and next up is the longtail wedgie. It's another slim profile lure, probably the longest casting lure on the Samson range, and again it's ideal for fast retrieve for fish like tuna. It's been really successful with kingfish, and so yeah, it's going to be a good all-round pelagic lure. The square kind of profile to it allows for a really fast retrieve. So if you're looking for a fast retrieval lure, long casting, the long tail wedge is probably one of the best that you can use. Okay, next up is the Enticement minnow. I would say this is more of a medium retrieve speed lure. That's where it's probably at its best. This is a high visibility yellow. So again, this one comes in light versions from 15 grams all the way through to 120. Yeah, I've used this lure a lot, whether it's for sea bass. Had quite a few really nice sea bass on this lure, and I've actually used it over very shallow grounds. If you keep the rod tip up and keep it moving along the surface, you should never get it really snagged up. You can let it drop subsurface, which I like to do also, just between the surface and just a little bit below, splashing, and it gives it that kind of, you know, injured bait fish look, which is really irresistible for fish. So yeah, it's a good all-round lure. I've had, you know, on the bigger version, stuff like GTs, it's good for all sorts of fish, rooster fish, barracuda, bluefish, big gator blues, some striper, and yeah, even some snapper off the top. So yeah, so that's a good all-round lure, casts really well. Next up is the fat minnow. Now this is the ugliest lure on the Samson range, but definitely a very effective lure nonetheless. Ideal in rough conditions when you want to make a bit more of a splash. Casts a mile, and really easy to use. Just literally wind it in. You can add taps to the rod tip if you like. For bringing fish up from the deep with the bigger splash, it's ideal, but with the advantage that it doesn't wear your arm out. So if you're fishing for hours on end and you want a good splashing lure, say in rougher seas or something, then the fat minnow is ideal. Yeah, a lot of species have been had on this, even everything from bass, even striped bass. It's brilliant for things like GT, Jack Crevalle, a lot of rooster on it. Bluefish love it. Snapper will hit it off the top, big snapper. Kareem Angling down in Morocco, he's had some great leerfish on it, and I've seen some good kingfish hit it. Okay, next the candle. This is the mini candle version, but these go right up to 150 grams, the pelagic candles, and this is primarily a medium to say fast retrieve lure, more of a fast retrieve I would say. It's got the belly hook and the tail hook set up, so you can really retrieve it fast. It will keep stable in the water and is ideal for things like tuna, which it was primarily designed for. Yeah, I've caught some nice bass on them as well, but I would say if it's specifically for bass, the bomb and the glide would be more suited, but does work well for them and casts a really good distance as well. It's got a good hookup ratio with the belly and tail hook, which also stabilizes it and allows you to really retrieve it fast. So if you're targeting tuna or say rooster fish and you want to keep that lure under control at a good speed, then the pelagic candle is definitely the lure for that. Okay, all Samson designs, weights and every shape comes in natural white. They're all lathe turned, completely handmade. We also have some special editions now, airbrushed in different colors, foiled, different styles also. So yeah, check those out, and thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions.